Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Stott and I'm the Emperor of Stomaria. Today we're doing a review of the Kingdom of Waywood. So for those that don't know, the Kingdom of Waywood has a YouTube channel, and on this YouTube channel is a playlist, a series called Micronational Reviews. And as the term suggests, this is where King Raoul of Waywood has been looking at individual micronations. He's been looking at their website and their social media accounts, and he's been seeing what they've been doing, what they've been up to, if they're on the same wavelength as the Kingdom of Waywood, if there's any benefit from association with the wider Stomarian Empire and with Waywood in particular, if they give any benefit to their own community, if they have a community. And the idea behind this isn't malicious in the sense that the initial way he went about doing this, King Raoul, is he actually put up a post and he asked Micronations in the public space if they would be happy to be reviewed by him. And he got a lot of responses, and he's been working through, I think he's finished now, but he's been working his way down that list, doing every micronation that requested to be reviewed. Now, the responses to these videos that he's been putting out there, these reviews of these micronations, has been somewhat mixed, I think it's fair to say. There have been some which have sort of taken it on the chin and been quite appreciative of the constructive criticism that King Raoul has been giving. Frankly, I think he's been quite easy, quite soft on a lot of the micronations out there, certainly from my own perspective. But there have been occasions where even the most quite complimentary reviews, broadly speaking, have not gone down exceptionally well. I believe it was Australia, I think is how you say it, just from memory. I think they actually requested that the video be deleted because they did not recognize or accept the critiques or the praise, presumably, that was leveled at them because for whatever reason they didn't like the content that was put out there. They didn't like the opinions that King Raoul had of them, and so they actually requested that it be deleted, or would prefer that it would be deleted. And another one, the Empire of Lemark, or Learmark, I was never quite sure how to pronounce it, but that was a relatively well-known micronation, particularly in Australia. And I am told that soon after an interaction between King Raoul and the Emperor of Learmark took place on the YouTube video that they put out, it was deleted for some reason. I believe Learmark actually deleted the conversation, which is a shame. I never actually saw it myself, but a few days later, a few days after that, engagement with the Kingdom of Waywood regarding this review, the Empire of Learmark actually dissolved. And I can't say definitively that that is the reason, but I know that conversation did take place. But that aside, the reason I wanted to make this video is because the Kingdom of Waywood is getting off a bit scot-free, in the sense that they're reviewing all of these different micronations, they're airing their critiques, and I am just not going to stand for it. you know, because I am well known, well renowned for my ability to talk calmly and concisely, to be able to bring out the best in people, never to hurt people's feelings by speaking unfiltered truths. I like to make people feel good about what they're doing. Anyway, and so on and so forth. The idea behind this video is to simply review the Kingdom of Waywood, not necessarily even in the same context that they review other micronations, but I just wanted to showcase the Kingdom of Waywood in as honest a way as possible. And even though they are clearly a member state of the Empire of Stomaria, I am going to try to show as little bias as possible, in the sense that I will be reviewing their website, or lack thereof, their social media accounts, and I will only be basing my opinion based on what other people can see. So whatever is in a public space, that is what I will base my assumptions on. Even I will know differently. I am fully aware of what the Kingdom of Waywood is up to. I am aware of their plans for the future. I am aware of where they are at now, and that all of that is in the public space. So I will not be basing my judgments based on that. My judgments will be based on what everyone else can see. And that is the same kind of approach that King Raoul has taken with all of these other micronations. And so that's what the format is going to be. So in this particular video, I'm going to be looking at, broadly speaking, 5 different topics, 5 different areas that are of particular interest to me, to Stomaria, and to the Empire of Stomaria. And this is going to revolve around citizens, government, the economy, money, and territory. These are what are going to make a nation worthwhile in our eyes. If they can master these, if they can get their head around them, if they can actually develop and expand on these particular topics, then that is something that we ourselves will be interested in. And if more micronations were a lot more aligned to our way of thinking, in the sense that the Kingdom of Waywood, like the Republic of Vesta and of course Stomaria, we have a particular vision of how you go about doing this, a particular way in which you actually aspire to become sovereign, in which you actually attain a kind of de facto independence. And focusing on these kind of core concepts, as opposed to micronational wars and discord raiding and mutual recognition treaties and micronational fiat currency and all of these other meaningless, pointless jargon that comes with the territory, and a lot of it is quite nefarious and legally questionable, frankly, which I'm not going to go into here. But the point stands, if more micronations followed suit, then we would have far less of an issue in using the term. Because for those that aren't already aware, and most will be at this point, the Empire of Stomaria, and Stomaria in particular, does not really use the term micronation to define itself or its member states anymore, certainly for the last 6-7 months or so, since we abandoned the term in order to differentiate ourselves from that kind of community, because it is by and large a pointless cesspit of drama and bickering and controversy, and it's not really something I have particular interest in or time for, even at the best of times back when we defined ourselves as a micronation. But I am digressing. This is about the Kingdom of Waywood. It's a review about the Kingdom of Waywood, what we look for in a nation, a community, and what others should, in our opinion, be aspiring to accomplish. So with that in mind, let's get started. So if you start simply by Googling the Kingdom of Waywood, that does yield some results. I did try typing in just Waywood, but that didn't yield anything to do with the Kingdom of Waywood. It was a lot of other websites, a lot of other content, but nothing to do with the Kingdom of Waywood. So typing in the Kingdom of Waywood does yield some results. Funnily enough, some of them are actually the Empire of Stomaria, in the sense that our YouTube channel and our website are both quite highly ranked on the search Kingdom of Waywood, because we do feature the Kingdom of Waywood on our website and our YouTube channel relatively heavily. But they do have their own Facebook page, they do have their own YouTube channel, they do have their own Twitter account, they do have their own Patreon campaign. All of these are things that you can find simply by Googling the Kingdom of Waywood. So that is a good start. They have a footprint, they have an internet presence in that sense. What they don't have, and something that I think they should, is a website. Now, websites are a bit of a controversial topic for one reason or another within the micronational community. But I think it is quite important to have if you actually have a set of values and a set of objectives that you want to promote. I can't list every value, every aspiration, every goal and target and vision that I have on every YouTube video, on every post that I put online. And a website is just a good way to collect all of the ideas that we have, all the plans and aspirations, and just to put them in one place, which is easily accessible for other people. However, having said that, a lack of a website has not at all hindered, as far as I know, the Kingdom of Waywood's progress in terms of attracting attention, and in particular, the attention of active citizens. And this is a big part of the nation building process that I want to discuss a little bit further, in that a nation, a community, when it has a citizenship, when it has citizenry to manage, to govern, to work with, a lot of the times it is just people that sign up online and do nothing more than that. They, fill in an email and send it off and go, I want to be a citizen, and they reply, sure, okay, add them to a spreadsheet, and that's the last you hear of them. Or they fill in some sort of Google form or application form of some description, and that's the last you hear of them again. Whereas the Kingdom of Waywood, which is something that we like to see, has used Patreon, and you don't have to use Patreon, but something like Patreon, where citizens of Waywood are actually contributing on a regular monthly basis. And this ensures not only that every citizen of the Kingdom of Waywood is constantly adding value to the wider community, but it also acts as a way of filtering out people that just aren't interested anymore. Because if you aren't interested in Waywood, even if you're a citizen, and you think, this isn't for me anymore, you're not going to continue contributing financially to the project, to the community, to the nation. And so there is an incentive to remove yourself from that. You don't have to rely on, King Raoul going through the list of citizens that he has, going, are you still interested? Are you still interested? Are you still interested? And then removing them periodically like that. It's far easier, far more streamlined to allow others to remove themselves. And if they don't, well, they pay the penalty of that by contributing to something that they're no longer interested in, which is, of course, possible, but it's less hassle. And it, again, guarantees a steady stream of revenue, as small as it might be. But the point stands that the main reason for this, the main point that I want to highlight this, is because each citizen of Waywood that they have advertised, and they do advertise it, they are all genuine, and that is important. They are genuinely adding value to the community. They aren't people that they've just pulled out of a hat. They aren't numbers they've just pulled out of a hat. These are people that actually believe in Waywood enough to contribute financially on a regular basis, and every month they are renewing that pledge of support, and that is important. In terms of the actual numbers, I think they are probably one of the, if not the most popular, what you would define as a micronation on Patreon, in that they have a larger citizenship on Patreon even than Stomaria itself. Stomaria proper is on Patreon as well, but the Kingdom of Waywood does surpass us in the numbers game, and that's fantastic to see. And a big part of that is, again, what you can actually see from the content on their Facebook page or Twitter account or whatever else. King Raoul is out there. He is meeting the citizens. He is traveling across the country in setting up embassies and outposts and getting people hyped up and involved. And that is what you need in a leader, in a king of a nation, of a community like this. And again, that's just a big, strong tick as far as we're concerned when it comes to this particular topic, when it comes to this particular category regarding citizenship. They have achieved precisely what we believe to be necessary. And to be honest, it goes even beyond this. And this isn't as obvious in the public space, and so I'm not going to talk too much about it because it's just stuff that I know, in that they are extremely active, comparatively speaking, than other micronations. They are very active in getting people boots on the ground and actually working on the land, the territory that they have. And this is the next topic that I want to cover. So when it comes to land, when it comes to territory, the Kingdom of Waywood once again tick a very significant box in that they have private freehold land, and they are utilising this land to grow produce, to raise livestock, to generate power through solar energy. And this is all moving in the right direction as far as we're concerned, in attaining that kind of de facto independence. Because once you provide your own food, once you provide your own water, once you provide your own energy, you are becoming that much more self-reliant. And for every step you take towards self-reliance is another step towards being able to pull up the drawbridge and shutting out the rest of the world if you had to. It is a de facto independence. It's independence by the back door, not necessarily legally, not necessarily in the sense of being recognized as genuinely sovereign, but as in sovereign enough for your own community. And that is something that we are working towards. And that, again, is something that the Kingdom of Waywood has been very good at. In fact, from day one, they have had the territory, they have had the land. And again, you can go back and look in the public space, and this is just a true and tried fact. They have had this territory, or more specifically, King Raoul has had this territory before the Kingdom of Waywood, years before the Kingdom of Waywood. And it is simply being utilised in this way now to the benefit of a larger community. Now, some of this, again, in the public space, has been sold off to Stomaria proper. But this land is conjoined. They are bordering one another. So in reality, nothing has changed, except Stomaria is now more heavily involved in the development of this land. And again, this is something that you can see. And that is, again, another major tick. And I just can't get over how fundamentally important all of these points that I'm covering are in making this work, in being able to accomplish this, because those that simply claim lands, claim territory, that is simply not going to accomplish what you hope for, in the sense that a public park, or the moon, or a random island in the Pacific, or the Atlantic Oceans, these are not areas which you can utilize, that you can cultivate, that you can generate power, that you can live on. So what is the point? You may as well do it right, do it legitimately, and then you'll have a lot more forward motion, you'll have a lot more progress. It's harder to do, it's harder to attain, but once you've got it, you've got it. And again, that's just another point to Waywood in the steps towards becoming a nation and a community. Something else we're looking for is government structure, and the number of people within that government structure. Now, the Kingdom of Waywood has documented relatively heavily on their YouTube channel how the Kingdom of Waywood is governed. They have posted photos of members of the Round Table. I, again, am personally familiar with a lot of them, but again, it's just the public information that I'm looking at. And you can see, as clear as day, that they have a functioning governing body. They have the citizenship as a whole, but they have a smaller inner circle, if you like, a government structure, and that there is King Raoul and there is members of the Round Table, and this is detailed in various videos that they have on their channel. I am aware, and this is not part of the review as such, but I am aware that they are potentially going through a change in how they are structured. But what they've already put out there is something that anyone can access. And again, that's just a point in their favour. They actually have a functioning governing body, and that is important if you are trying to establish a community and a nation. When it comes to the Waywoodian economy, the egg production at Waywood is probably one of the most famous aspects of Waywood, in the sense that they actually have chickens that lay blue eggs. But it goes far beyond this, in that they obviously had, in the times past, various other poultry. They had pheasants, they had turkeys, they had ducks, they had quail, and even other animals. I think guinea pigs was probably another quite famous animal that they had at the Kingdom of Waywood, which could be utilised. And beyond that, they have grown over the years many different fruits and vegetables, not just blackberries, raspberries, strawberries, that sort of thing, but also rhubarb, potatoes, and various other fruits, vegetables, and herbs, which are utilized by the Waywoodian community, and if not utilized by themselves, then actually sold on their market stall. So again, this is another positive for the Kingdom of Waywood. They are actively trying to establish an agricultural industry, and they have tried in times past in delving into other kind of areas in order to generate revenue for the wider community, not always successfully and not always documented. So again, won't necessarily count that towards the actual final report of this video, but they are nevertheless making strides in the right direction. When it comes to a monetary system, the Kingdom of Waywood, historically speaking, hasn't really had a need for a monetary system. And it wasn't until the Empire of Stomaria came about and actually introduced a monetary system for the member states of the Empire that the Kingdom of Waywood began to engage and utilize silver Stomarian status. And these status actually feature the Kingdom of Waywood. The original ones feature the Kingdom of Waywood. And the stater bars, which are soon to be minted, and again in the public space, these are also going to be acquired, accumulated, and utilized by Waywood. And the utilization of commodity money, the utilization of sound money, this is another very core component of this nation building process. Because printing little bits of fiat currency at home, in the sense that you're firing up your A4 printer and all of these little colored pages come off and you cut them out and then you say this has value, I've got news for you, it doesn't. You need a commodity money. It doesn't have to be silver, it doesn't have to be gold, but it needs to be a commodity money that has the characteristics of a money. And I'm not going to go into all of that just here, but that is nevertheless a very important aspect of the Empire of Stomaria. It's what we look for when it comes to member states and nations, if they understand this, if they appreciate this, and if they adopt this, if they haven't already, then that is something, again, that we look for. And the Kingdom of Waywood has taken this on board very, very quickly. They appreciate, and certainly King Raoul appreciates, the importance and the need for reducing reliance on the fiat currencies of sovereign nations like the pound, the euro, the dollar, the yen, and all the rest of it, because they are limitless in supply, and when the inflation rates become unsustainable, it's those that have invested in deflationary assets like gold, like silver, and all the rest of it that are going to survive the storms to come. So again, massive tick in the monetary box in this particular review. So as you can see, the Kingdom of Waywood is, broadly speaking, one of the most ideal nations and communities for us, in the sense that they are relatively local, they align with us in so many different ways, they have a consistency and stability and longevity to them that make them ideal as partners. And this is what I would like more micronations to resemble. However, the idea that I would let them get off completely scot-free and only giving them praise where praise is rightly due would just not be appropriate for this video. And so I do want to go through some of the more critical components of Waywood, which I think is definitely worth highlighting. They've never once declared war, sanctions, embargoes, or investigations against anyone. I mean, how are you supposed to flex, honestly? They don't have a Discord. Are you even a Micronation, bro? They don't do mutual recognition treaties. I mean, how am I supposed to trust someone that doesn't have 157 treaties with Micronations that I've never even heard of? They actually have the audacity to refuse payment in little bits of paper that other people have suggested that they send them in return for their goods. They don't like or share every comment and every post that they come across within the Micronational community. What, are they too good for the Micronations of the world? And of course, King Raoul of Waywood can grow a beard, whereas I struggle. And so that's not just a mark against King Raoul of Waywood, that is a mark against the entire community. You all suffer for King Raoul's beardedness. But jokes aside, the Kingdom of Waywood is a fantastic nation. It is a fantastic community, and King Raoul is a fantastic individual. He is a very good friend of mine, a very dear friend of mine, and I've been working very closely with him for many years now, but in particular for the last few months and the last few weeks as we prepare the woodland territory, Southwood and Waywood South, for the Imperial Summit in a few weeks' time. It's not been an easy time for King Raoul for some personal reasons, which some people viewing this might be aware of, but I'm not going to get into here. But he has shown a great deal of strength and resilience, and I count him as one of my best friends, I have to say, and I'm not getting too mushy about it on that front. I'm just saying that he is someone that I have a great deal of time for, a lot of respect for, and if you did want to play a part in the Kingdom of Waywood, then do feel free to reach out to them and get involved, because they're always looking for more people. They're always looking for more people on the ground above all else, as is Stomaria. But again, this is a review of the Kingdom of Waywood, and I would recommend you go and visit their YouTube channel to find out more about the Kingdom of Waywood itself, to get in touch with King Raoul through their Facebook page or their Twitter account or whatever else, because there is a lot more information that he would be able to give you that I couldn't fill 10 videos with. So just reach out to them and get involved if you can. But all that said, if you did want to become a part of the Stomarian community, then please feel free to do so through our Patreon campaign, the link of which I shall leave in the description below as always. But otherwise, if you did enjoy this video, then please feel free to give it a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.